message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
It is just such a heartbreaking video, and we have new details here. They're also emerging about the investigation. Former FBI agent Brad Garrett will join us in a moment here, but first, ABC News Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katursky is live in Tucson for us. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning, Gio. That new anguished message from Savannah Guthrie is difficult to watch. It is short and pointed. The family promises to pay to get their mother back. This morning, 1 week after police say Nancy Guthrie was abducted from her home in the dark of night, her children are grasping for some way to get their mother returned. Savannah and her siblings clutching hands in that Instagram post that begs, bring her home.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Law enforcement sources told ABC News the message is the same one received Friday by a Tucson television station. The FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department said they had been analyzing it, but the sources said they have not determined its authenticity. An earlier, also unverified message included a deadline of tomorrow.
While we advise and recommend from a law enforcement perspective, any action taken on any ransom is ultimately decided by the family.
Savannah's gut-wrenching plea came at the end of the day with no new investigative leads. Hours later, officers seen leaving her sister Annie's home, but still there are no suspects, no video, and no proof the 84-year-old in fragile health is alive. It has been a week since she failed to show up at church, and her family reported her missing. Nancy Guthrie, who appeared with Savannah from time to time on the Today Show, now appears on billboards in Phoenix, El Paso, San Antonio, and Houston. Investigators returned to her home, inspecting cameras on the roof and towing a car. The FBI went door to door in her quiet desert neighborhood, hoping someone may have noticed something in the wee hours of last Sunday morning. That's when police said in a 45-minute period, a doorbell camera was disconnected, a possible intruder was detected inside, and Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker disconnected from her phone. The sheriff told us he has to believe she will be found.
Why would I operate from any other position than my team is operating from the same position? She's out there. We're going to find her. We have to operate from that position.
You have to have hope.
Absolutely.
The frantic search is drawing worldwide attention, but for Savannah Guthrie and her family, this is a deeply personal horror of sadness and frustration. Guys, the police were tracking a possible vehicle of interest at a nearby convenience store that may have been spotted during that 45-minute window when police believe Nancy Guthrie was taken. But Janae, there are no new leads this morning.
Said the horror, the anguish for this family as this has dragged on. Thank you so much for your reporting. Now let's bring in ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett. Brad, thank you for being with us this morning. It's been a week since Nancy was taken. We have that Monday deadline, the new message overnight from the Guthrie family. What does the timing indicate? And with it going into a week, is it likely that this is about money?
I think it is about money. And I also think
it makes you really wonder what this is really about.
Message by the Guthrie family was very strategic. My guess is they had hostage negotiators working with them as far as wording, using like celebrate instead of surrender, or taking away from it like she's being held, which obviously she is if she's alive, hopefully. But it also tells the bad guys that we are serious about this, and maybe most importantly for the bad guys, that we're going to pay. And so we'll see. I think it sort of ratchets up what may happen on Monday one way or the other.
And as Aaron reported, Brad, we saw that this was a really pointed message there. Savannah Guthrie addressed the suspected kidnapper or kidnappers directly in that social media video. So what does that tell you?
Well, that tells you that, first of all, that the bad guys need direct connection to Savannah, because presumably she is the one that would ultimately come up with the money if they decide to pay.
To return our mother.
And Brad, you mentioned the possible vehicle of interest that could have been investigated. Where could the investigation be going from here?
So I will tell you that vehicle spots and even people spots, many of them don't amount to much. Maybe this will. I think they're really just banking on that a car showed up during the time frame that Aaron talked about, and that is it related? Is it not related? My guess is they would have resolved that car one way or the other by now.
Brad, as we've been saying, you are a former FBI agent. So what do you see going on right now behind the scenes of this investigation?
So here are the following keys: is can the FBI techs break down the IP address that was used to send these emails, which is in effect their ransom notes? I don't think they've gotten anywhere with cameras. They may have other leads. And one of the problems, Gio, is that you get so many pieces of information. If you can't get it into a computer where you can analyze it, you may have gotten the call 3 days ago that's related to a call today. You've got to make sure you pull all of your intelligence together. And my sense would be they do have other leads, and they're working those, whether they be in or around Tucson or maybe someplace else. I mean, let's face it, Mexico is only an hour away.
That's right. All right, Brad Garrett, thank you so much. And as we've been showing you on the screen, there's that tip line to the FBI. Please call it if you have information. It's right there on your screen. Brad, thank you again.
Okay, guys, I wanted to try and get you guys caught up a little bit on this. We're going to start covering this and talking about this, anything other than the beach for right now. So I know there's quite a few people that are covering this, or that are wanting me to cover this and wanted to talk about this. So I wanted to get it put on here and give you guys a chance. The link is pinned if anybody wants to come up. For right now, I'll pop JLR on because he is sitting outside the house. And we'll go from there. Feel free to update us in the chat if you guys know more about what's going on, as we're trying to keep up with this at the same time. Yes, Chai Crimes, we're going to try. We're going to try. This is a lot. I used to watch her every day on the news, every day. JLR is all over this, and I love it. Yeah, hell yeah. And he's so nosy. I love that he's fucking nosy. And you know what? This is good for us and good for the community, because guess what? Gives us a palate cleanser and a break from the beach. We'll still cover BJ later, but it's something different for right now. Yes, girl, yes. Let's get into it. Let's go. All right, here we go. Let's put the JLR on real quick because he's got all the mots for right now. JLR's got the mots. Let's put his little...
Receipts. I got the deets and the receipts. I got the mots. Applesauce. I got the mots, folks. Would be, I would say, one.
Holy hellfire. Look at all those people in his chat. That shit's moving so damn fast, man. Holy shit. God, that's moving so fast. Fun size. I just started following this story last night. Yeah, I've been watching it for a couple days. You think it's somebody in the family? Fox News is current. Okay, well, we'll go check them out too. 40,000, it gave me a headache. Yeah, it's moving so fast. I know Icked Mills is moving fast too. It's buffering because he's got 40,000 people in chat. That's the problem. He's...
All right, sorry, folks. The heat here. It was heat. I had to move into the shade.
Yeah, the phone, it's getting hot,
So I kinda lost
overheating.
position here. I'm back.
Yeah, he's got lots of people over there. He did give people permission to stream. So, hey, Kate, what's up? They have a metal detector out, JLR said.
was
Oh, well,
heat. My phone
he
heat.
would know. He's keeping us up to
Now I
date
got a
for
shade
sure.
spot, but I'm not in the same spot. I'm just a little bit over.
For sure. I've been on
So we'll
watching.
just wait and see. I appreciate that, folks.
Yeah, that chat's wild as hell. There's no mods either, so.
Phone getting hot. We'll wait and see. We'll just wait and see. I'll describe what's going on while we wait and see.
Hey, Alex.
Jalen says it's supposed to be in the 80s here today, so his phone will overheat in the sun. Oh, baby, my God, it's probably going to get really hot.
All right, welcome back, folks.
Yeah, this is crazy. Shadow, thank you for the $2 super sticker. Fox News said they're looking in the septic tank. Oh, my God.
I think this is good, but I also have my
Oh,
tripod,
wow.
too.
Okay, we'll go check Fox News, too. If you guys have links or anything you want me to check out, go ahead and email them over. I'll drop the email in the chat. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah.
So the wait is on. We have to wait and see what exactly happens here. Thank you, everyone that has contributed. Really appreciate that. Grateful. I can't acknowledge everyone personally right now, but I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, Joey's just let me know. Okay? Hey, Jonathan, you going? Yeah. Hey, so you're talking to me? This is Alex Tabbitt. Going on. Chat about you. So I just let you know that we're going to go live and right outside the door. Guthries home for the detective. Just good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, let me know. We're going to go live and no, it's just like it's just a different. You won't be. I don't want to let you guys know if there's one right there. Otherwise, obviously,
There, a lot of people speculate. The indication is they could be looking at the septic tank or something, some sort of septic tank. Maybe it's possibly between both Nancy's home and the neighbor's home. But again, it's only two. It's only two. It's not like it's all the cavalry or some sort of, massive law enforcement presence. It's two. And then they have a deputy out here on the street, guarding the street, making sure nobody goes on the property. So there's two individuals back there right now.
I'm not talking. That's why you're not hearing me. I'm just streaming this for right now.
Don't go far. Keep up. I've seen some of the comments come across. Some pacemakers are made with titanium. Mom, want to interrupt this at titanium. I mean, would this be crazy if they found the pacemaker and just the pacemaker only? That would be crazy. Some people on X are saying that a deputy's digging in a hole with a stick. I've seen that multiple times on X. People are saying so. I don't know if they're getting it from the drone footage up there or something. Somebody's posting something, but possibly. Uh-oh, I gotta move into the shade. I think we might get. If this goes away, I'll be back. I'll go into a cooler spot. I need something to block this because my phone is getting hot. It's hot out here.
While it buffers and stuff and he gets that cooled down, we'll go watch a couple of the Fox News and see what they got going on, because I know that Law and Crime put some stuff out and Fox News is live now with stuff. Well, this is hey B Tim, what's up?
Hey, what's up? How's he doing?
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool. How are we doing this fine Sunday morning? So creepy. I hope all is well. So what were you playing just now? I just popped in. You were having like loading issues and I just popped in. I was doing a few things.
JLR, his phone was overheating. It's too hot where he's at. So
yeah, you got to get a cooler, man.
Yeah, he's definitely he was definitely trying for sure.
Yeah, got to get an ice pack for that. They're dissecting the word choice. Is chipper. I'm always chipper. I'm always chipper in the morning. So this is an interesting one. I mean, like, I kind of wonder what's the whole point. I mean, like, the ransom note going to TMZ, a lot of people believe that's fake, right? That's pretty much the situation with that, because that made no sense at all. see. Do you think it's an inside job? Yes. I don't think it's by the family. I don't know if it's from the family, I should say. I'm not going to rule out anything, but I think like it's definitely an inside job because the cameras are destroyed. That to me tells me that you've previously at the resident and you knew the placement of the cameras.
Yeah, it's wild. This is wild, man. Here we go. Here's a
mother, Nancy Guthrie. Sheriff's deputies were seen at the home of Annie Guthrie in Tucson last night. This is Savannah's sister. It's unclear why they were there, but they left with a bag, and another deputy was seen wearing latex gloves. Now, this comes as Nancy's family continues to plead for her safe return as investigators race to verify a new message. ABC's Johnny Fernandez has the latest.
Over a week ago, Savannah Guthrie's elderly mother, Nancy, was last seen at home. Today, Savannah and her siblings are making a heartfelt plea for her safe return, sending a message to whoever may have taken her.
We received your message and we understand.
In a new Instagram post, the family is appealing for their mother's safe return. The message coming after a Tucson television station received a new message claiming to be the kidnappers.
Yeah, this is wild shit to me. Miss E. Petty Crocker says, have you seen the split screen of the family's first video versus scenes from the Silence of the Lambs? The pleas are exactly the same as scenes from the movie. It's wild, weird, and freaky as fuck. Would you please email me that link? Wow, I did not know that.
I would like to see that before I say anything.
Yeah, me too. So I would like to see that, please. Some of these are AI. There's a lot of videos that are done with AI, so we have to be very careful.
So the timeline of events.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, like my understanding of the time, like I'm pulling up the timeline. And it says here, Saturday, January 31st, 5:32. Nancy, you say names better than me. Guthrie takes an Uber to her family's home for dinner. 9:48 p.m. Guthrie is dropped off at a Tucson, Arizona home by family member. The garage door opens. 9:50, the garage door closes. 2 minutes later. Then on Sunday, February 1st, 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera is disconnected, which is very odd. Then 2:12 a.m., the camera software detects movement, but there is no video available for Guthrie. Available since Guthrie did not have an active subscription with the company, meaning the footage was not saved. 2:28 a.m., Guthrie's pacemaker disconnects from the phone. And then 11:56, Guthrie's family checks on her after learning she did not attend church. 12:03 p.m., Guthrie's family calls 911 to report a missing person. In 12:15, investigators arrive to launch a search operation, including the use of drones and search dogs. And then 6:46 p.m., Fremont County Sheriff's Department posts to social media to announce Guthrie's disappearance. And 9 p.m., Fremont County Sheriff Chris Nanos speaks to reporters near Guthrie. So
I would say I think they went over that in the news clip here right before you jumped up. But Flutter Play says, can you tell us why some folks think it's an inside job, a family member specifically? I don't know. I don't think it's an inside job yet, but then again, I haven't had a chance to listen to everything either. So
the cameras, someone knowing the placement of the cameras, basically, and knowing to disconnect them.
Okay, so you're saying the cameras then?
Yeah, a lot of people believe it's because of the camera situation. Someone knows to disconnect them.
Okay.
So that's pretty much it. So,
okay, here we go.
So they're thinking either it's a family member or someone. I personally think it could be a family member. Or it could be even a person that was doing the gardening. When I say inside job, it could be someone that's just works for her, works in that area, but who knows?
Said it
Sorry, I didn't mean to turn that on. Are you done, or you want me to go ahead and turn it on?
I'm done. You can keep on going.
Okay. I don't want to be rude. Here we go.
Contains something the senders seem to think they will prove to investigators they're the same people who sent the first note. The one that mentioned Nancy Guthrie's Apple Watch and possible damage at her home demanded Bitcoin and included 2 deadlines. The first has come and gone. The second is just 2 days away. The FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department said investigators are actively inspecting the information provided in the message for its authenticity. Investigators seen towing a car from the residence overnight following another thorough search of Nancy's home.
If the ransom note talks about specific things in the house, like things broken, things moved, cameras removed or smashed, whatever it might be, if that's the case, they're going to go back and double check they've got to see if it matches what the bad guys are telling them.
President.
Okay, hold on. There's a hold on. We need to play this.
Investigates. Thank you. Very grateful.
There's a it's like a
continue to be out here covering these things and every twist and turn in this case. Every search, every place they go to. We're here. And again, anyone can use the stream. We're all in this together. Anyone can use the stream. If you're a restreamer out there and you want to bring public awareness to this whole case, you can restream. I have no problem with that.
Thank you, JLR.
Never have, never did.
Listen, go follow JLR Investigates.
Anyone can restream.
That's who we're following with this live stream.
Help use your platforms to find Nancy, bring attention to Nancy.
Someone said, Flair said, why do they demand like Bitcoin? People think Bitcoin's untraceable, but it's highly traceable unless you wash it, basically. There's like a system of programs to basically wash it to like kind of make it so you can't track it, but you can track every transaction with a Bitcoin. So a lot of people that think demanding Bitcoin is, that. But there's another reason. You can demand a lot of money very quickly. So obviously Bitcoin dropped, but even since it dropped, I think it's like, 60,000 or something like that. So it's a lot easier to at least transfer
out here
than cash.
They're all swarmed. They're all over there on the other side, but it's in the middle of the sun. It's blazing. I feel really good here. It's like blazing. It feels really good. Right here.
It's kind of weird that they only had
as soon as we see him come out, we'll see what they did. We'll try to find out. Maybe somebody will say something. Who knows?
No, we don't need a watermark. JLR gave consent. Yeah.
It appears they're in the woods area.
Yeah, they said there was blood found in the scene, but they didn't say whose. It could be the person that broke in. It could be Guthrie's. It could be anyone's. And I don't think they're going to really release that information until probably much, much later. Maybe even like during the trial, really. Yeah. When can diver dogs pick up booze and train? I think, but I'm not sure. Don't hold me 100% on that.
There's another feed that like has an air thing, and they're just walking around there. No activity right now. They're just walking around. We'll wait.
You're correct. Actually, they was her DNA. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Let me see. But can her pacemaker be traced? No, you can't trace a pacemaker. You can't trace it. It was connected to the Apple, I think, device, basically. And when, I guess, I'm not a tech bro, but anyway, but my guess is maybe when she went to a certain distance away from the phone and disconnected. That's my understanding of that, maybe. The neighbor tipped them off that the roof may have been recently coated because it's so clean. And then shortly after they were on the roofs, found another camera. Interesting. Yeah, like when people think inside job, they think family members. I think more, it could be like a neighbor. It could be someone that works for her. It could be like someone that's actually walked around the area. So it's really, but you don't rule out suspects either way. Like everyone's kind of a suspect around her. You know what I mean? So the way those blood drops were, it looks like a bloody nose. I don't know. I mean, it's worrying because this lady's on medication and she needs that medication, and it's not looking good the longer this goes, unfortunately. Not sure how far she was from the hospital to track it, but I imagine she would have been close. You know, apparently had some electrical work done. Yeah. I just think it's a little odd that the cameras get cut off immediately like that. To me, that's a little odd. You know? I don't know. I mean, they are searching. There's a possibility. I mean, like, there's a possibility she's deceased. There's a possibility she's being held somewhere. No one knows yet. Did you all see the video last night of Savannah and her family did? Sounded like it might have already passed with the way they were speaking, but I don't know. Yeah, so inside job definitely implies it's someone that knows her, but not necessarily a family, though. Yeah. I also wonder what the motivation is. I mean, like, I get she's got money, but it's like, I don't know. It seems it's very risky to, kidnap a woman that needs medication and is on a pacemaker. You know what I mean? One wrong move, she dies, and then you're suddenly, not only are you going to be convicted of kidnapping, but murder too, like murder as well. So doesn't make sense to me. But I'm not a criminal, so who knows? Does she have that kind of money? Yeah, she does have that kind of money. Or at least her daughter
Live
does.
around here?
Yeah, I'm from Phoenix. Came down to visit my godson.
Gotcha.
And
Just seeing what's going on?
Yeah. We just decided to swing by on our way north. How about you?
Oh, I'm from Florida.
You're from Florida?
Yeah, I came from Florida. What brings you out here? Just the curiosity?
Yeah. I have some friends who live up not far from here, and I was just worried. Sending lights for closer house was.
Gotcha.
So dense.
Horrible.
General thought today.
Well, I mean, they're in.
I mean, her daughter has like $40 million, they estimate.
They were at the other home last night taking pictures. Now they're here with a pole.
Is this an unmarked car? Or is this the security?
I think that's I think it's somebody working with the sheriff. I think.
How far is the other house?
That's about 10 minutes.
And that's where they brought it home from.
Also, I mean, like, the ransom note was kind of weird. I don't know if that was like someone trolling and trying to scam to get money, or, that's what I personally think, possibility, but I don't know. And it felt like it was definitely a strange choice of words, saying, "We got your message and we understand. We want our mom back so we can celebrate," paired with, "We are willing to pay."
Hope Nancy's found.
Check it out.
Thank you.
You know, it's really fucked up what TMZ did, though. I mean, I don't know why they didn't just toss it to the cops immediately.
So, folks,
Check
we're
her
just
email.
waiting.
All right, I'll let Queen know. Check her email. Queen, check your
Another
email.
sheriff's deputy came. Right there, another one pulled up behind. So now we have multiple sheriff deputies here. Thank you, everyone. And another deputy arrived. So now we have another one.
Also, with like the ransom notes, there's a possibility that
chain of command meeting.
It could be a troll. It could be the suspect trying to throw them off by sending it. You really never know with ransom notes and stuff like that in social media. Let me see. All these cactuses were. Well, that's aloe vera, I think. So I think that's pretty healthy. I don't think you're going to have an issue with that one. I should have it immediately sent to authorities. TMZ is terrible. TMZ is basically like the yellow pages of the 1800s. yellow papers or something like that. You know, that's what the whole idea of yellow journalism came around. They just like published everything. They don't really think to themselves. They just care about like what's the best scoop, and they don't care. So, you know, people kept telling JR to be careful of jumping the cactus. Well, I'm sure he will be. And if he does, he'll make sure it's on live stream. Ellie said it was legit ransom note, but who knows, man? This is, you know, you never know with like social media. Some idiot could just simply just think to themselves, I can get Bitcoin, it's untraceable, and I can scam these people for money. Maybe they'll give me the Bitcoin, I can run away with it. I don't know. Personally, it's a little odd, personally. Also, if anyone ever knows anything about Bitcoin, it's traceable. It's actually more traceable than cash. Like,
take care. Thank you.
Unless you do, even like if you try to wash it, you know, using various like wallets and whatever they usually do to wash it, to clean it, it's still there's still people that can track it down on Bitcoin blockchain and all these blockchains. So I don't know. And like $6 million in cash is kind of crazy because, yeah, you could be worth $40 million. Doesn't mean you have $6 million to just buy a bunch of Bitcoins to, you know, start sending it to someone. I don't know. Let me see. Quarantine.
So it looks like there's 5 deputies here. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. 5 deputy vehicles are here now.
5 deputy vehicles.
I don't know if the guy that's doing the poking out there is actually a deputy or a contractor. That's 5 now here.
That's a good point. How are they supposed to send the Bitcoin? Like, because you would have to have their wallet. You would have to have a wallet to send the money, to receive the money. So you'd have to give them like some sort of, I guess a link or something, right? So
they're searching a manhole right now. So
yep, it is JLR's live stream. Yum Killa. He gave permission to everyone to restream them. I mean, it's possible, but the way it sounded like was weird. The way the word, like she might be dead and they want, I don't know. I have, you know, we don't know how people react during stressful times. So usually when we see press conferences like this, it's usually like the worst time in their lives and like a really bad time. And you don't really have a baseline of when they're calm and collective and are able to do things, you know, so. It's an afterthought, in my opinion. I think she's gone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank
I
you.
don't know. I don't know if she's gone, but they're investigating. But it's a little odd that they have people over here looking. So they are very religious, and they won't believe she's dead until LA has her. The word news was under the guise of hostage negotiator. Let me see what the exact wording was. Let me see. 1 second.
Came back. It came back.
So they're just sitting here then, huh? We can go look at other stuff then. We'll go look at other
Yeah.
dates.
He's just, remember the whole Conte thing where he like.
It seems like where they're just sitting there. They're just because he's just sitting there. But sorry, my daughter showed up with her little chihuahua. She's just not acting right. So I was dealing with that for a minute.
You wanna play the Guthrie's family pleads for the mother?
Yeah. Do you is it in the back or? Okay.
Yeah, I'll put it in the back. Here you go.
All right, sounds good.
Here you go, and it says I put it in the back for you.
Breaking news to bring you right now. Just a few moments ago, Savannah Guthrie, surrounded by her siblings, posted a message on Instagram pleading for the safe return of her mom, Nancy. We want to play that for you in full.
On behalf of our family, we want to thank all of you for the prayers for our beloved mom, Nancy. We feel them, and we continue to believe that she feels them too. Our mom is a kind, faithful, loyal, fiercely loving woman of goodness and light. She's funny, spunky, and clever. She has grandchildren that adore her and crowd around her and cover her with kisses. She loves fun and adventure. She is a devoted friend. She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
The light is missing from our lives. Nancy is our mother. We are her children. She is our beacon. She holds fast to joy in all of life's circumstances. She chooses joy day after day. Despite having already passed through great trials of pain and grief, we are always going to be merely human, just normal human people who need our mom. Mama, if you're listening, we need you to come home. We miss you.
Our mom is our heart and our home. She's 84 years old. Her health, her heart is fragile. She lives in constant pain. She is without any medicine. She needs it to survive. She needs it not to suffer. We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us. Mommy, if you are hearing this, you are a strong woman. You are God's precious daughter, Nancy. We believe and know that even in this valley, he is with you. Everyone is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. We will not rest. Your children will not rest until we are together again. We speak to you every moment, and we pray without ceasing, and we rejoice in advance for the day that we hold you in our arms again. We love you, Mom.
Love you, Mom.
We love you, Mom. Stay strong.
We love you, Mom. We love you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on
I
breaking
put the
top
more
stories
recent
on the
one.
NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
I put the more recent one on in the back. It's like the one that's willing to pay or whatnot.
Yeah, there's a photo though. And this right here is the backyard. And this is what they were talking about.
Yeah, there's
So
a
that's what they were digging up, or that's what they were doing in the backyard.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
what that was sent.
Oh, okay.
That's what they were talking about in the chat. So I just wanted to pop that up for a minute. And then you said the
Yeah, there's another one.
mm-hmm. We'll put that on.
Your message, and we understand.
I thought this was.
We beg you now
Oh.
to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay. We received your message, and we understand.
Maybe I should get a full one if it's not. I'm sorry. I'll look for.
We beg you now.
Mom,
Well, yeah, I was gonna say we already watched this one. I thought
no, that was no. I'm trying.
Um,
No, we didn't watch that one. Let me see this. I'm
well,
trying
there's
to
another one that just came up, but I'll go find some. It's okay. It's all good, baby. Here is this is
Let me see. Give me a second.
let's see. Here's Fox News. This is live too, I believe. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, this is Fox News. They have the aerial views. So
Here's another play. This is from her son pleading. It's a short one.
I don't know how to get the chat there off of it. It doesn't work. So I close it out like that, but then it keeps it on there.
Let's see. Does she have a septic system? What put out last night. Okay. It looks as if it's going to a different note that maybe or for me too. I mean, if it's a ransom, I don't know. It seems pretty risky. This is so sad.
I can't really hear you very well. It sounds like you're kind of mumbling to me. So I don't,
Can you hear me now?
I didn't hear you. Yeah, I do now. It just kind of
Oh.
sounded like you were mumbling, like I didn't really hear what
I
you
was
were
away
saying.
from the mic. Sorry.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So were you saying something to me? Because I didn't want to be rude.
Oh no, I put the son's play that I was telling you.
Yeah,
earlier.
it's up on the screen. I just didn't know if you were asking me something and I didn't want to be rude. I apologize. All right, here we go.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
Yeah, that was about.
Why are they so short, I wonder?
I don't know. I mean,
it seems kind of odd to me. But I don't know why the family would be doing this if they were involved in it. I guess I just don't.
I don't think they're involved. I think there's a possibility that someone else that knows the area came by or the house. You know what I mean? Like if you're 80 something years old, you know, there's a possibility that you'll have a home health aide. You might have someone that comes deliver stuff to you. You're not watching yourself you're not by yourself all the time. So I don't know if it's until I see more evidence of it. I just think it's someone that knows about the camera systems, knows to disable them.
Well, yeah,
And-
but that could be anybody. That could be anybody that works with the camera
Yeah.
system. That could be, you know, like that works for them, that works with them. That, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, and that's the thing. You just really don't know until there's more evidence pointing. And also, there's
Right.
got to be like a motive. Like, what's the motive of a family member kidnapping an 80-something-year-old mother? That you know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
right.
But a lot of times, crime doesn't make sense. So, you know, I can't say it always makes sense.
Hole in a septic tank. Yeah, that's Brian Enton. Brian Enton's about to post his report. He just came.
It could be that they're checking
Which
every
we
single
just
area.
showed the picture that Brian Enton's talking about. We just put it up on the screen. It was where they were digging in that septic tank.
Yeah, they're probably just checking everything just to make sure.
Well, that's
'cause
another thing. Look for buzzers.
It could be a murder by the guy sending a ransom note to cover his bases. You know what I mean? You know, there's a possibility. You never know. So they
I
check
don't know.
everything.
The deputy's still here, so they could be doing these other things too. Like that was the first wave of doing something, and then they might do something else on the property next. We don't know what's going to happen next.
Could
This guy hasn't
motive
left.
be paid to keep Savannah away from? I don't know about that. About keeping away from the Olympics. I mean, would you be willing to do life imprisonment for that? Like, it seems a little
Oh.
crazy.
What happened to Nancy? JLR investigates, boots on the ground.
I mean, you got to realize if you get caught kidnapping someone, you're going to jail for life.
Arizona, Tucson, Catalina Foothills. Hello. Neighbor just waved to me. Hello.
We had a septic in our last home. It was not accessible without digging lines. Yeah. You see, this whole thing seems crazy. It definitely is kind of crazy because you usually don't have like big kidnapping cases. I mean, that happen. There's not a lot of cases with like huge kidnapping cases where people, you know, I mean, I can't think of one except for the Lindbergh baby. That's the only one I can think of right now. I don't know any like real big profile kidnapping cases like this, to be honest with you.
I mean, the Pima County Sheriff's put out an update this morning. It said the Nancy Guthrie investigation is ongoing. Follow-ups continue at multiple locations. No suspects, person of interest, or vehicles have been identified. No scheduled press briefings. If any significant developments occur in the case, a press conference will be called.
Yeah. Because they usually are necessary. Yeah, and usually people risk, you know, because it's not very risky. Get out of your brain chaos. Baby. I get she is Newsacre's daughter, but this seems a bit much. No, it's because there's not a lot of high-profile kidnappings. I mean, like I just Googled it, just like because I was like saying to myself, what was the most high-profile ones? And the last one was 1974, the Hearst kidnapping, and 1963 kidnapping of Frank Sinatra Jr. And then before that was 1932 Lindenberg baby. So maybe it's like there's not a lot of kidnapping cases like this, and there's not tons of kidnapping cases like this in. So add that to the fact that this is a mother of a celebrity. I would say a news anchor, high profile situation like this, and social media, it can definitely spiral. So Patricia Hearst, Patty Hearst, yeah, I think that's Patricia. They're related to Woody. Seems to. SF is the new law and crime update. Oh, okay. Let me check Twitter on him. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty crazy to me. But yeah, cases like this, they pop up because there are, there's a lot of intrigue of who done it with these types of cases. And it's very odd that the cameras were, disabled. And
we can probably have SF come up here and chat with us too and let us know kind of what's going on with this as well.
Oh, if he's around. Okay, so 5 hours ago, he said, sometimes, okay, so this is FF Investigates on Twitter. Something does not add up regarding the supposed search warrant executed last night at Annie Guthrie's home. Only sheriff's deputies and technicians were present. If this warrant was for blood or other significant evidence, the FBI evidence response technician would be leading that effort. Additionally, the sheriff's personnel at the home were not wearing the level of PPE used during luminol or blue star testing. If you don't know, blue star is just a better version of the luminol when they look for like any sort of blood in the area. In those situations, investigators wear more than gloves to prevent cross-contamination, including Tyvek suits, boots, covers, and respirators. It seems this was a consent search that the FBI didn't feel was significant enough that they needed to be involved. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Let me see. So then another one, let me see. Yeah, I don't think it's personally, I don't think they're really looking hard at the family. But I think they're just covering their bases with everyone because cases like this is like everyone's a suspect. So Jenna Smith says they kidnapped a credit union manager near me several years back and made him try to withdraw money from the credit union while holding his mom. They were caught eventually. Yeah, you hear that, but that's a pretty crazy story too to hear. But you hear that, but not too many times. All right, lady, I see you around. They're looking hard at everyone. They do that with every case because if they don't, like just like the Sebastian Rogers case, they still look at all the parents. You know, every single case you look at everyone because you got to keep an open mind on where the evidence can lead you. And if you exclude someone because of bias, then that could result in, you know, number one, you can miss out on an investigation. Number two, it could be a nightmare when it comes to prosecuting them. For instance, give an example of the Karen Reed case where a lot of people were critical of the fact that the people in the house was not searched. So that became a big point of contention for the defense, and they used that very successfully, by the way, to get Karen Reed off. You know, so you have to follow every single person fairly, or it could become a big problem when it comes to trials of convictions and stuff like that, where a good defense attorney can use that to his advantage. So. But he is right. If you're going to look for blood, you definitely will have a Tyvek suit. You would have the booties on. You'd definitely bring Blue Star. I don't know if they still. I mean, I think they still use luminol, but Blue Star is usually the basis.
Oh, the sheriff's not on me. You know,
right,
no big
but
deal.
If the sheriff's
the optics
not
is
on
bad.
you, if the sheriff's not on you, you have a thing called the FBI that is. So yeah, you want to take time to get away. I understand that, but the game was at 2:00 in the afternoon. Okay, he had plenty of time before and plenty of time even after.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's been out here except maybe 1 or 2 times. But, you know, I think that it's smart and it's a good idea that technically the lead should be the FBI now, because this is a huge FBI issue. And I think that the sheriff's department needs to kind of, you know, work with them, but kind of take a step back. And there's a lot of people that I have talked to and that I have seen stuff online. And, you know, social media, you know, people say things that shouldn't be said. People say things that should be said. But I think that there's a lot of backlash that he went to the basketball game last night. So I did at one point have faith in him but this is the second incident that has happened.
Who went to the basketball game?
On Monday, he dropped the ball.
They're talking about the sheriff going to a
opened
football
up the
game.
house. They opened up the property for everybody to come into, which should never have happened.
Some people say that's crime scene tampering. Contamination.
Yeah,
contamination.
And it very well could be because you're allowing everybody to walk up to the very front of the door to see where that Ring doorbell was.
And the blood.
With blood sitting there. it should never have been opened back up for anybody. To this day, it should be just closed off. I'm not saying media shouldn't be here because I think it's the most important thing. You know, they're doing their job. So that's just my take.
I think this will be solved soon. Based off what you've been seeing, what you saw here today, with them at the manhole. Last night they're at the son-in-law and Annie's home.
Yeah, that was quick that they released the crime scene to the family, the house.
It's going to be one of those, everything is tight-lipped right now. There's a lot of things that the nation doesn't know. There's a lot of things that are kept quiet, which I do understand to a point. It's a waiting game. And if when the news does break, whoever it is, one person, two people, whatever it is, then, everybody will get their answer. But I think that it will get solved. It's just a matter of time and when. This is the third time or fourth time that the sheriff's department has been out and the investigators have been out to this scene. So, and from what I'm hearing, it's somewhat normal because they might have missed something or, whatever it is. But I think it's very odd that it's taken 3 times or 4 times to come out here to, and I understand they get
No,
tips,
it's not odd.
and one tip leads to this and one tip leads to that. And that's why last night they were out here. They were out here again today, obviously. So, and I don't know what they're looking for. I honestly, truly don't know what they're looking for. They had taken off a camera. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before when they got on the FBI was on the roof of and I believe it's a guest house is from what I've seen on the news. It's a guest house. But wouldn't you have thought when they did the initial investigations that they would have seen this camera?
No, you miss things. That's why you return.
There's a lot of a lot of moving parts, but
I've
things
seen it in
I
many
feel like
cases.
are missing.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Hey, you're
As
welcome.
a Tucson resident, hopefully she's found soon. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome, buddy.
Be safe. Thank you.
Hey, I will. Thank you.
Gaylord?
Yes.
How are you, sir? How you doing?
Hi. What's your name?
Hey, Jim. Nice
Hi,
to meet
Jim.
you. My daughter, my wife has been a big
I know,
fan of
Tiffany,
you.
it's crazy, ain't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's okay.
Tiffany B. Tim Simp. She's been covered, listening to her like we have been.
Very nice. I always watch you all. You do an awesome job. I really appreciate it.
I mean, people the police come back to scenes all the time, many times after the initial search. Even when you search for a missing person, they research the areas that they searched before, because sometimes they miss things. So to think that officers would only go to a scene once, get everything done and leave is not realistic. And also they get tips, they get new information, and they check those areas,
My wife and daughter.
And this thing about the sheriff being in a game on his after hours, I don't know. I think that's just kind of unrealistic thinking. A person, in the end of the day, it's a higher level job, but it's still a job. He's still going to do things after hours.
Thank you. You guys be safe. Thank you. Thanks for saying hi. All right, folks, we are back.
Hi there. It's
Sheriff's
not a
still
good
here.
look,
Deputies
but
here.
it's not a good look to go for a game for sure, especially in a high profile case. He's probably getting his ass torn to pieces behind the scenes, but I don't know.
The sheriff going to a basketball game last night was wild to me. Not a good look. Yeah, no, it's not at all. This is the drone from Fox News. They've been flying the drone around.
Really?
Yeah, look, JLR's right there. They're right behind the
shit.
truck. This is what we've been watching. Yeah.
Oh shit.
This is what we've been playing.
That's crazy.
Look. So they're right behind. You see how JLR's is pointed. His camera's pointed right at that cop car. Here the drone comes down. Watch it.
Wow.
Hold on. You see them all. It'll span around. Watch. Bam. And then you see all the cars lined up there.
Yeah.
Watch. They bring it straight down.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, that's really neat.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, we were watching it because they were like doing like a span, like here we could see them all talking. You see how they have it set up on JLR stream, and JLR was standing like right here because we seen the guy right here. So you see where that girl just walked out, right there. That's where JLR is standing.
Oh, okay.
And so right there's JLR in the red. Look at him.
JLR.
So we had JLR's in the red to the left. You see him right there and on the left hand side of the screen in the red.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah, so this is him on Fox News. And then here he is on his own. Back it up to about here. Here he is on his own. Same view. Same scene, different view there.
What do you mean MX, by the way, Chaya Crimes?
So we were watching both. We were watching from his view, and we were watching from the news view from up above.
Like VPN, like Brian Koberger tried to use a VPN on his phone to change his location, but that doesn't help you. Like it doesn't help you because with the cops, it might help you with like YouTube or like other sites, but it doesn't help you with when the cops get involved. It changes your location, what it's like registered to, where your app is, but it's not going to help you when the cops look at you closely.
All right, let's hear what JLR's got to say.
Whatever your opinion is about the situation, it's always good to hear from residents and the residents' point of view, residents' take. A lot of people have a lot of opinions about the situation.
Oh, Dolly has a GoFundMe to go down there.
I was going to say, Dolly's got a GoFundMe trying to get down there already, which he doesn't need because he's got money.
Like, bro, that's crazy to me that he's doing a GoFundMe.
Folks.
Big T is a little criminal on her way down there. I'm sure she is. This is a big ass case. She is.
Bro, she's going to meet her past boyfriend from down there.
Hell yeah, she's going to go down there. Absolutely, she is.
At least it's warm there, man. I mean, Dolly said he wanted to go somewhere warm for someone who was missing.
Right there.
Yeah, you know what? JLR has gotten so much better. He does not pull the bullshit that they pull.
Yeah, you don't see him doing
a lot better.
You don't see him doing a GoFundMe to do his
like
YouTube
I said,
channel.
Magnolia did him wonders. Like really, I really like Magnolia.
You don't see him like threatening people on live
right
streams.
here, so there might be something else being done.
You think Dolly's gonna learn his lesson from the last time? No.
Howdy. No news. Nice truck. Got it a long time ago. Looks nice. For the old Ford.
Old Ford.
The old Ford. Nice truck.
Nice truck.
Red truck.
I mean, it's interesting because you could probably notice someone coming down the road.
We don't even have any vehicle. And they're still not saying a suspect has been identified, person of interest, no vehicle.
Yeah. Which is kind of wild because you think you'd be able to find out a vehicle and a location, some sort of surveillance, some sort of geofencing, but they haven't figured out the vehicle yet, or what a vehicle. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Wait and see.
I think Dolly's on the verge of another heart. Oh, no. Well, I hope he doesn't, to be honest with you. I hope he does well. He should eat right. That is a wonderful. These folks are going to pay money prime rates for hotels.
A lot of people are starting to get critical of the Pima County Sheriff's Office with this case. There are a lot of people running out of patience. I mean, we're at a week now.
The $2,500 missing
right?
is kind of wild.
Sometimes these cases don't get solved overnight. But I do find it disturbing considering there's traffic cameras all around outside this neighborhood that they haven't released a vehicle of interest, nothing. I mean, they've been going looking for surveillance. They haven't released any vehicle. Now, media is still here. Media is not leaving.
I mean, when she initially went missing, they only offered like $2,500 for information leading to finding her, which is kind of crazy that they would. I guess it was like the county or whatnot. It's just automatic, but Like her daughter's worth $40 million. She lives in $1 million house.
What's your thoughts on that, ladies and gentlemen? We're out here in the field. We will be here each and every twist and turn with this case.
Oh yeah, it's hot out there. You can like literally, fry an egg on that pavement for sure. Yeah, it's very weird because you're wondering, like, there's so many aspects to it. I mean, like, what I'm hearing from people is that she was very sound mind, Miss Guthrie. Just because you're in your 80s doesn't mean you're not sound mind. You could still be sound mind. And it's just very interesting, the situation. And there seems to be no information, no photo of a car at the scene. Maybe they're keeping a tight lip on that. Maybe they don't want to spook the suspect because, you don't want to scare them. And then they decide to get rid of the person. So that's probably it. Because that's the next step. Let's say they know that you're coming after you and they got evidence. You dispose of the evidence. And what's the evidence? The person. And how do you dispose of the person? So maybe that's why they're keeping such a tight lip up on the car. If they have a car, if they have a license plate, if they have anything, they're keeping a very tight lip because they're worried that he'll try to destroy the evidence, which would be a human being. So that's my only thought why they're very tight lip on this whole situation. Or they just have nothing. That could be another possibility. Just the people walking in cars, it's difficult to tell if this is a busy road. I don't think it's that busy of a road, to be honest with you, this particular road. Because how many regular cars have you seen passing by? So I think like anyone new in this neighborhood, people probably would take notice, really. But it's got a lot of places to kind of hide from. It's a lot of desert. Yeah, without her medication, it's not looking. Every day without her medication is not good. And that's a little worrying that wasn't taken into consideration. They just took this woman. So there's you know what I mean? So that's not good. Thank you, Cappy, for plugging the Rumble channel for Queen
Let's see
Bee's,
what happens next.
Queen Bee's Dive Bar. If you ever want to, we go there sometimes. Isn't it when they cash out the Bitcoin that they can they could trace it by ledger? Bitcoin is traceable by ledger. So every time you move your Bitcoin around, every single transaction is maintained by a ledger. So they would immediately attach it to your wallet and know who you are. It's very traceable unless you wash it. And if they try to cash it out, then they can get that money. They find out who you are very easily. So, and even if you try to wash the Bitcoin, you're not gonna. There's guys out there way smarter than me on that will find you easily.
Here.
There's been criminals that thought they could wash Bitcoin and they got caught by the FBI. It's very easy.
So I saw you at Dilly the other day. Dilly, remember Dilly? When there were peppers.
Julie says
Brian off at the Dilly detention center. Well, that reporter right there was there. I live in there.
Oh, Brian Enton? Oh, let me check. I'll check it out. Let me just go to his channel.
Is police chief friends with the brother-in-law? Great question, Carmen Jamal. I mean, and you're talking about the sheriff Nanos. Why isn't Sheriff Nanos why does he refuse to acknowledge Tommaso by name and says, well, I don't want to say who dropped Nancy off. I won't even say who it is. Now it's just his family.
Here's the Queen. I put the Brian Enton thing. If you go to 6 minutes and 17 seconds, he actually starts walking through the back, Brian Enton. He's like the area in the back and just kind of shows the desert area. I put in the back.
I really, really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. There is
like 6:17.
Yeah, I know. I was just gonna let some of it play, and then scoot it forward, but just so that we could watch a little bit of it. Is that okay? Or
that's not okay. I'm offended.
Okay. All right. we'll jump right into it then.
Activity and information coming out with the Nancy Guthrie case. I used to be way down there. That's where Nancy's house is. They've actually moved us back. They closed off the entire area and set up yet another crime scene at Nancy Guthrie's house. And there's a ton of FBI that just arrived. So I'm going to get into all of that in this episode. And then, of course, the big news, there is now a second note. A second ransom note has been sent to a local TV station here in Tucson. I'm going to give you the latest details on what is in that note, and then
I do too, Tiffany. I want to hear it too. And since you're my alt in here, and the only one that I send 50 memberships to myself from, thank you for commenting, because I really wanted to hear this too. He's out there walking around. I see him on JLR's camera and on the Fox overview. I want to know what else he got, what else he knows.
Finally, in this episode, something really interesting. I went out with a former Border Patrol agent, law enforcement, knows this area so well, has lived here for 20 years, took me into the desert around Nancy's house just to show me what the terrain is like. And also, by the way, he has actually seen the first ransom note. He's just really well connected, and he's seen it, he's read it. There's a lot he obviously didn't want to disclose, but he gave me some new insight into that note. I'm going to get into all of it in this episode of Ryan Investigates. All right, guys. So again, as I was saying, there has been a lot going on here today. The biggest news, I think, is the fact that there is now a second note that has arrived. And we don't know a ton about it, but the FBI has confirmed that there's a second note. The sheriff's office has confirmed that there's a second note. And KOLD TV, which is a local TV affiliate here in Tucson, confirms that they received the note. Their news director has said that it came in through like a form. Like, when you go to a website and you can fill out a form, and then it emails the company or the news agency, that's the way that it came in. And this is the new information about the second note. They say the IP address is not the same IP address as the initial note, but it appears the sender used the same type of secure server to hide their IP address. The new note contains something the senders seem to think will prove to investigators that there's the same people who sent the first note. So different IP address as the first note, but the same secure server was used to hide their IP address. And there's something in this second note that the senders think will prove to investigators that they're the same people who sent the first note. So the FBI has confirmed that they are looking into it. And remember, ultimately, it's going to be up to Savannah Guthrie and her family how to handle these things. And the FBI has made that clear. They're the ones who decide, the Guthries, how to respond to these notes if they want to pay the ransom. Remember, the first note had 2 deadlines. The first deadline was yesterday, so Thursday at 5 p.m. And then the second deadline is Monday. And I've been trying to understand why there could be 2 deadlines, and I still don't know the answer to that. One theory that I've been thinking about and floating around with some of my FBI friends is, like, could it first deadline be for less money and the second deadline be for more money? That's a possibility. But I was over at Annie Guthrie's house earlier, and they basically said that people outside said they thought that Savannah Guthrie had actually left, and Annie Guthrie had left that house and weren't there anymore, and the house was empty. So I don't know if they have found a new house where they're all staying right now, the Guthrie family. I'm not really sure. In terms of what's been happening here at Nancy Guthrie's house, it has been like totally insane over the last couple of hours. First of all, we were outside just in our spot that we always are, and the sheriff's deputies all came in and they said, everybody has got to get out right at this moment. All the media has to leave, which hasn't happened before. Of course, they did have that second crime scene they set up, but they didn't make the media leave. This time they said, we're closing off the entire area, the whole block, and everybody has to leave. And so we had to quickly pack up our stuff and go. I took a quick video when all this was happening. Take a look. So something interesting is happening outside the house. So all of these sheriff's deputies showed up, and they are now, you see down there, they are closing off the road, and they're making all the media leave this block. So we're not going to be able to be in front of the house anymore. They said this is for investigation reasons. And so we don't know what they're about to do with the house, but they don't want the media in front of the house anymore. So basically everybody out here has been told to pack up, and she's saying they need room for their investigators.
Oh, you bet. Thanks for all your hard work. We
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
all you do for us.
I'm sorry.
On the other side of those cones.
Yeah, see those cones right there?
She said they need room for their investigators to do what they need to do. So something is about to happen out here from an investigative standpoint, and we're all going to have to move. But it's interesting. You know, they had the crime scene in the beginning. They took it down. They had another crime scene. They took it down. And now they are apparently going to be doing more out here. So we had to move everybody off of the road. And we had to leave. Everybody had to leave in a hurry. And as I was walking out, I looked and I could see that there were FBI vehicles arriving, dark tinted windows, evidence response vans. And then when we were able to get our drone up, we could see that there were a ton of FBI in front of the house. They set up their units in front of the house, and then they were also behind the house. And I actually saw a picture of them behind the house, looking in the woods behind the house. So it's just interesting. You think about, they had the first crime scene here, and then they opened it back up. They had a second crime scene earlier this week where they put the crime scene tape up for 2 hours, opened it back up, and now here they are again. And the timing is interesting that they swarmed this area again, got everybody out, brought the FBI in right around the same time that the second note arrived at KOLD at the TV station. So the timing is really interesting. I want to show you, though, I went out with Art Del Cueto. He is a former Border Patrol agent who lives in this area. I went out with him into the brush and the area close to Nancy Guthrie's house, just to get a feel for what it's like out there with the wildlife and with just the desert. I'm not from the desert, so I just wanted to get a feel. The other thing is he also has seen the first ransom note, so I wanted to ask what he knows about that. Here is when I went out with Art. I'm not from this area. I'm from Florida, so I don't know much about the desert.
Right.
Tell me, we're right very close to where Nancy went missing from. Show me this, like.
So we're extremely close. I want
know?
people to know that we're extremely close, because I don't want them to come after you and say, "Oh, you wasn't even close."
No, we're close.
We're walking distance,
Yes,
right?
yes.
We're trying to avoid all the other media.
Yes.
So we're out here to show the reality, because people don't understand how bad the terrain would be for someone to easily find a person or track somebody. With the United States Border Patrol, you're taught different tracking skills, and I think that's what helps. But this is the terrain where we're used to walking through and trafficking, trying to track traffickers, human smuggling and drug smuggling. But the way this is called the wash. A lot of people don't use that terminology, and as we walk through here, you'll see this is kind of like a trail where you know which way to walk in there. You're going to have some broken branches in this area.
Everything is like got thorns too, huh?
Everything's got thorns. And I think the difference is people hear desert landscape and they almost think that it's nothing but sand and you could see so this is basically the brush. And as you walk further in, these are called, this is the actual wash. These are the washes. You know, we haven't walked too far, but if you go this way, and here I will show you, if it's dark out here, or even now, vehicles can go through this neighborhood and they're not going to see anybody in this area of the brush. Now, this is called the wash. When it rains, you get water through here, of course, but they're dry most of the time. So you can walk through these areas and pull up behind some of these houses.
You could drive into some of these areas.
There's some areas where you'd be able to drive. It'd be more difficult, but you could definitely drive maybe like a quad through here. And there's a house right there. And if we continue walking through here, I mean, you'll see there's a house there. You probably couldn't see it when we were in the brush, but you're going through all this area. And at night, somebody that would know the terrain can walk through here and literally you wouldn't know. Okay. And as we've walked, we're probably what 20 feet from the road, and from where we're standing, we can't see my truck anymore.
Well, so there's a house there. There's a lot of space in between the houses. Everyone keeps asking me, "Oh, people have cameras, can't they see the cars going by?" But this shows, like, there's all this brush.
There's no way you would be able to see with some of these cameras. You would not be able to see the street.
Yeah.
I mean, here where we are at right now, people can be walking up and down that road and they're not going to see us. Now imagine this at night when it is completely dark and there are no there's no street lights out here. There's absolutely no street lights. So that just adds to how difficult it is. And if you do have some type of ring camera and it's dark and you have this, you're really not going to get much out of a ring camera.
So what is the deal? I keep hearing about this ordinance where it has to be dark out here. What is that?
So there's an ordinance that they have in areas of Pima County and the city of Tucson against light pollution. And I think it was more to attract people that want to come and see the stars. There's the university here has an astronomy program that also helps. However, I hate to Monday morning quarterback it, and I hate to tell other law enforcement how to do their job. But I've been in law enforcement for over 2 decades in the state of Arizona. If there is an ordinance in an area that you're working some type of crime, I find it really difficult to use an excuse of I didn't bring the lights out because there's a light pollution ordinance. I would have brought those lights out here, especially knowing the terrain. I would have brought the lights out here because it helps you find out what happened. If there's a criminal in the area, it's easier to find him. And above all, you're working against the clock. So if you're working against the clock, the quicker you get resources out here, the better. I would never not use lights out here based on a city ordinance, especially if a crime has been committed.
So did they not use lights because of that?
So that's the thing, yeah. So the sheriff came out, he did an interview, and he said that, there's this particular area, there's that ordinance on light pollution, so that's why they didn't bring some lights out here.
Wow, that's kind of crazy.
That's what happens when you're dealing with a lot of red tape sometimes, and the bureaucracy of doing the police work and everything else that comes with it. But look, I think if I'm in a leadership position with an agency and something like this occurs, I'm bringing flood lights, and I'll deal with a lawsuit later.
Did you see the ransom note?
I have seen the ransom note. I have. I'm not going to get into specifics, and I don't want to get into specifics, specifically because from a law enforcement side, I understand why they're not releasing it, why they're not getting to specifics, and I understand the urgency. And I think this is important because I've seen the letter. I think there's an urgency where if it's legit, the captors, regardless of what's in the letter, in order to show that it's valid, they need to contact law enforcement. They need to contact the family somehow, because there needs to be specific questions that only the family would know in order to determine that they do have it, that it is valid, and that she is still alive.
And I don't want to ask you for specifics because I don't want to do anything to
that's
that's the last thing I would ever want
Correct.
to do. Like, what's the point in that? I want them to find Nancy. But I am curious, just based on your background, like, did you find it to feel like legit?
I think it's legit enough, but more questions should be asked of them if they're the real captors in order to verify it 100%.
Okay. And since you're from here, I'm not from here, like I said, I don't know
Right.
anything about the sheriff, but just covering it this week, he's had some mixed messaging. I don't know, there's been some weird moments. He's done a lot of interviews. What is his history? I mean, is he?
Well, he's been a sheriff for a long time, right? Obviously, I believe he lost one election and he came back and he won an election again. We're where we're at right now. He's been in police work for a long time, but this is what I've always said, and I get criticized for it. There's a difference between having 1 year experience in law enforcement or having 20 years experience in law enforcement. And then there's guys that have 1 year experience 20 times in law enforcement. I don't want to criticize him and say he falls under that area. But when you have a crime of this nature, and the world is watching us right now, and other resources are being brought in, the FBI is being brought in. I know Border Patrol has been out here and helped. I think when you see that, it's almost a skill set. You need to make sure you pick from the right skill set in order to get everything done. At the end, it's law enforcement. We all are on the same team. We should be on the same team. And the ultimate goal is to find Nancy, bring her home safe. And at the same time, we need to find out if there's any individual out there that is the cause of this, bring him to justice and make sure that he faces true consequences.
You know all about Mexico Border Patrol. I mean, we're what, 60 miles away?
We're very, very, very close to the border. Where I can get you there in just a little bit over an hour. That's also concern, obviously, because it's been said that she doesn't have medication. But because our proximity to the border, we don't know if somebody is involved, if they would have been able to get the medication from Mexico as well.
Or brought her in, could they bring her into Mexico?
Or bring her into Mexico, or even, I'll be honest.
Are there ways to do that, though, without being seen?
So there's areas, obviously, that are porous still within the border. Our border is more secure than it's ever been. We've all heard that, and it is true. But in Arizona, there's still porous areas where you could possibly head south, especially at nighttime. It'd be hard because you're driving through a lot of the city, that's another complex part of Tucson, is you have one major highway, which is I-10. And we're pretty far from I-10, so you'd have to drive across the city to get to that freeway, and then you'd have to get to the separate one further south to head into Mexico, unless you went off road, which this is what you'd be going through.
So I guess if she was in Mexico,
Can you stop it for Queen for a
get
moment?
her the medicine she needs to stay alive.
That's pretty crazy, the sheriff. Okay, now I know why people are pissed off with the sheriff. Like, at first I'm like, okay, a basketball game. But then I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't bring lights in a desert at night to search for a missing person, to search for maybe a trail where the guy
Right.
went
Not only
in?
that, then he takes off and goes to a basketball game. No.
And then what? Because of a city ordinance?
Yeah, I would be very upset. Nicole, thank you so much for showing love and dropping a membership. I appreciate that. Whoever got it, please tell her thank you.
What is the sheriff's interview? We gotta find a fucking sheriff's interview and listen to this, because that's crazy.
That's really rotten of him. Tiffany says, SF has some great posts on this. Okay, we'll go check them out. We'll go pull them up for sure.
I mean, I can't. Let me see. Let's see.
Yeah, this is
was the most recent one 3 days ago. Is that the one, guys?
Kyla's mom says exactly. I have said this all stream, and I live here, so she's a local.
That's crazy. Here is the sheriff. I think this is the sheriff one. This is from 2 days ago.
Well, let's finish watching this first. You
can put it in, but that's just. I just think that's crazy, and also I would say like. It explains, because a lot of people were asking in the JLR stream, like, how could they, like, the police should have videos, or like some sort of like, there's all these cameras for the roads and stuff like that. And I guess that could explain, like, they could have went through the wash. I didn't even know that was a term, and they could go in there secretly. I mean, that's a very interesting thought process. Or they could have went to Mexico, or there's a possibility there. You really don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean, when you have a sheriff doing that and making those types of very bad mistakes,
for sure,
it's not good.
All right, here we go.
Honestly, if she was here, because of how close we are to Mexico, there's areas where you can purchase medicine in the United States. Even some businesses will sell it, albeit under the table, and they won't let you know that they're selling it, but there's areas where they could probably purchase it within Tucson itself.
I guess even though it's sad to think of her, if she was abducted, that's kind of a good thing in a way. I mean, if she could get the medicine.
It is. If she could get the medicine, that's a big thing. That's why it's very important that regardless of what's in that letter, the family needs those abductors, if it's legit, to communicate so they can make sure it's legitimate.
And just because you're so in the know, I mean, is there a lot, and you saw the letter, so you obviously have good connections. Is there a lot we don't know? I mean, because I keep thinking, is this letter and this whole ransom part of it just one possibility? Are there other possibilities they're looking into?
No, it's you got to find the validity. That's what it comes down to. We need to make sure that they need to make sure that it's a valid letter. The ultimate goal is to bring Nancy home safe.
Okay, and you live in this area, right?
I live pretty near.
There's been all sorts of talk about a white van, and I saw another neighbor telling me, oh, there's people around that like try to clean windows and seem shady. I mean, what is this neighborhood like? Have you seen shit? People aren't going to mess with you.
No, I mean, honestly, the neighborhood, it's a good neighborhood. Before I worked for the Border Patrol, I worked many years in a maximum security prison, and I would talk to the inmates, and I would find out what neighborhoods they lived in, right, just to see. And they would always say the same thing: we're not going to steal in the good neighborhood. We're not going to steal in the bad neighborhoods. We're not going to steal in our own neighborhoods. We're going to go to the good neighborhoods. So I think that is, an eye opener for a lot of individuals, that it doesn't matter what neighborhood you live in. Crime can find you, and there's evil out there that doesn't really care whether you're right wing or left wing. They just care to monopolize themselves. This is a prime example. It's a good neighborhood. People come out here because it's a good neighborhood. The houses out here are higher priced than other areas in Tucson, but here we are.
Have you had any problems?
I've never had problems.
No? Okay, that's good. Anything else that you think? I just feel like everybody's watching this story around the country. My friend, my friends who I haven't talked to in years are suddenly calling me, oh, what's the scoop? You know, I mean, it's got that sort of interest. Everybody feels terrible for Nancy, and people don't know that. I mean, you have the insight. Like, what else do you think people need to understand?
Look, I think they need to understand the area. That's a big deal. People need to understand that. Like, I came out here the first day after it had happened. I walked through all these desert areas. Like I said, there's a big wash on the other side, and I looked at different things. I would look at the vegetation. I would look at the rocks. You know, if rocks are disturbed, you know, something like that, you'd know somebody may have walked through there. So there's different areas. You look at different footprints. You look at this. You know, if somebody brushes up against it, it might tear some of the fabric. So there's so much things that go into it to make sure what could have happened. It goes beyond, hey, check the ring cameras. Hey, ask the neighbors. There's all this that it makes it just so much more difficult to find the answers.
Were you surprised that they cleared the crime scene so
I
quickly?
I was extremely surprised because they were there. Maybe they have collected everything. I'm not sure. Obviously, the FBI came back and they taped it up. So I don't know if the FBI said, hey, we want to have a look, or the FBI said, hey, there's something else that maybe we need to pull out of there. But I am surprised that I'm surprised that that they, you know, stopped and they removed the tape so soon. I'm surprised that there wasn't more lighting brought out here. You know, there's just certain things that you just got to not worry about. And I think any ordinance, push that
that's
aside.
Crazy.
What's important is to try to find the human.
And just lastly, is the Border Patrol still helping?
I'm not sure if the Border Patrol's helping. I haven't been in contact with them recently.
Because they were helping.
I know they were out here. Yeah, they were out here with searching in this area. I know they had Borstar and they had some of their canines. And that's kind of like, I came out here the first day. I find out Borstar was here. I find out canines was here. If Borstar and Border Patrol canines are out here and they haven't been able to find anything, I would doubt that there's anything out here to find at this point. Because, like, aside from me having worked with Border Patrol, I can tell you that when it comes to tracking, when it comes to finding individuals in this type of environment, they're the #1 in the world.
Someone told me that their canines are the best.
They are the best
for tracking.
For tracking, you know, drugs, for tracking humans. Because a lot of people think, oh, well, they're trafficking drugs. No, they track. There's various different areas that they're trained in. And finding somebody that would have been lost in the desert is one of them. And obviously finding somebody that has been taken hostage.
Yeah. Anything else you think is
That's all
important?
I got.
Thank you, Art.
All right, bro.
Appreciate you, sir. As always, I really appreciate everyone who takes the time to talk to me, especially Art, for taking me out into the desert. And I'm going to continue to stay on top of this. Again, it feels like things are really developing right now. First of all, the second ransom note that has now arrived, and whether it's legitimate, and we're going to be waiting to get more information on that, which, again, I'm just going to read you again what KOLD is saying. So the second ransom note went to KOLD TV, and they are saying the IP address is not the same IP address as the initial note, but it appears the sender used the same type of secure server to hide their IP address. The new note contains something the senders seem to think will prove to investigators they're the same people who sent the first note. So that's what we know about this second note so far. Going to try to gather more, and I'll obviously have it for you as soon as I get it. And then also trying to figure out what's going on now here, why all of a sudden they've set up a crime scene again at Nancy Guthrie's house, which again seemed really sudden. I mean, they came in and they said everybody had to get out, and then the FBI came in and did their thing. So they're still here right now. Sorry if I'm licking my lips a lot. My lips are so chapped. I don't know if it's like a desert thing. I'm not used to the, it's just so dry, but it's, yeah, it's been a long couple of days. Appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and I'll keep on top of everything. All right, talk to you guys later.
Let me see. Oh, thank you for the, you got a donation? You got a membership?
Yeah, I was gonna say a blank slate. Thank you for dropping 5 memberships to us. If you guys got one, please tell her thank you.
You know what I just think is interesting is that it seemed that, like, the FBI came back. It seems to me, and I could be wrong, and I'm not a law enforcement, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but it seems to me like the sheriff's department screwed up, and the FBI came in by opening up that scene so soon. And the FBI came in and said, wait a minute, we need to check it out. And they came in and they said, you know, we need to check this out because you're not handling it properly. That's what it seems to me. That's what it seems to me. I could be wrong, but just from outside looking in, that seems like it's the case.
Well, This is from 1 hour ago. It's Long Crime.
What is the
it has SF on it, and it says 9 disturbing new details in the abduction of Savannah Guthrie's mom. I think it'll be interesting to watch this real fast, or some of it.
Yeah. Someone's saying
SF
it's
pops up, so I think it's interesting to kind of hear where he's at. Let me see where he comes into play.
also, you keep on saying it is a federal law. I don't know what is a federal law. You have to tell me what's a federal law.
What is?
Yeah, someone keeps on saying it's a federal law, BTM, and I don't know what's the federal law. The ordinance for the lights? What's the federal law? The last thing you mentioned, the Silence of the Lamb. You know, I mean, I'm seeing weirder things. I don't know.
I don't know. Like I said, I'd have to see that clip, and I
Yeah.
never got an email with it. So here we go. Let's pop this on.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her.
Major new developments in the case of Nancy Guthrie, her children posting another video to her possible kidnapper. Law enforcement was also spotted inside Savannah's sister's home overnight. Media saw flashes of light from a camera going off inside. And for the first time, one of the TV stations, which reportedly received a ransom note, revealed just how much the price may be. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. All right, let's get to these major new developments in the case of Nancy Guthrie. So it appears, based on a video posted to Savannah Guthrie's social media overnight, that the family has decided to pay the millions of dollars that kidnappers reportedly requested in an alleged ransom note. Here is that video.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
And you look at that video and you can just see how exhausted the Guthrie family looks. Obviously understandable with everything that they have been going through for now more than a week since Nancy Guthrie was allegedly taken from her house in the middle of the night near Tucson, Arizona on February 1st. So now I want to talk about what we have learned about these alleged ransom notes. And it does appear that law enforcement and certainly the Guthrie family, that they are taking these ransom demands very seriously. Now, we have not seen those notes, but we've learned pieces of information as this story has developed over the past week. According to the FBI, the notes had 2 deadlines. One was for Thursday last week. The second one is for about 24 hours from now, which would be Monday. I'll have more on when on Monday those notes may be demanding the ransom money. Now, the first of the alleged ransom notes that were sent out, there were notes that were sent out early last week to at least 2 television stations in Tucson and to TMZ. Then you had a second ransom note that was sent to 1 local television station in Tucson, and that went out on Friday of last week. But let's talk about the first ransom note that was sent to TMZ, because TMZ has been somewhat public with what the note entailed, even though they did say that the FBI has asked them not to share certain amounts of information. They say that the note demanded a large amount of money to be paid in Bitcoin sent to a Bitcoin wallet. TMZ says they were able to verify that the Bitcoin wallet is in fact real, but we don't know if these ransom notes are legit, if they have been sent by the person or people who kidnapped Nancy Guthrie. They also say that the note reportedly said that Nancy is safe, but she is scared and she recognizes the situation that she is in. Now, clearly with the Guthrie family posting a video saying they will pay, you can see that they're taking it seriously, as well as law enforcement. Then you have this second note that went out on Friday last week to 1 television station that we know of in Tucson, Arizona. And this was after the first deadline passed. The second note reportedly said that there would be no negotiating, and then demanded that amount of money in Bitcoin. It is unclear, and it's important to talk about this, that the video, frankly, videos that we have seen from the Guthrie family, where they have talked to someone who allegedly kidnapped their mom, and they have talked about the ransom demands. It's unclear if they are responding specifically to the ransom notes that the media outlets say that they have received. This case has been so public as law enforcement have been investigating multiple locations in the Tucson area. And you have these media members, some from news organizations, some people who are bloggers online who are in Tucson and who have been posting about every single move that law enforcement have made, like when they go into a home or where there's been activity in certain parts of the city. But when it comes to the Guthrie family specifically, the close circle, Savannah, her sister, her brother, the people who were with Nancy Guthrie just before she went missing, we have not heard a lot about what they know and who they have been talking to. That part of the story, that has been airtight. Now, TMZ said that the FBI, again, told them not to share certain pieces of information related to the alleged ransom notes, but overnight, a local television station in Tucson, which says it received a ransom note, dropped some big news about what it entails. K-Gun TV says it received a note, one of the first notes sent out early last week, and they say in that alleged ransom note, the demand was for $6 million, and the deadline on Monday is 5 p.m. Now, there's a separate TV station in Tucson that says it received a second ransom note. It's unclear at this point if the Guthries are responding to these notes that we know about in the videos that they've posted on Instagram. Now, the Bitcoin part of this is very important because we'll talk about in just a moment why the alleged kidnappers, whoever they may be, and if they actually have Nancy Guthrie, if they're the people responsible for this, why they could have a very difficult time moving a large amount of money put into a Bitcoin wallet. We will talk about that in just a moment and why that could open the door to a new trail of evidence and clues in this case as the hunt will continue for the people responsible. Now, last night, as so many of us were reacting to what we saw in that video posted to Savannah Guthrie's Instagram, law enforcement showed up to Annie Guthrie's home. This is on Saturday night, Nancy's eldest daughter's house. That is where Nancy Guthrie was for dinner on the Saturday night where she went missing. She had Ubered to the house for dinner. They played games, family evening at that home. Then the sheriff says a family member drove her back to her place around 9:45, and the sheriff won't say which family member drove her home. But it now seems like there is more activity at Annie Guthrie's house because last night it appeared that members of the Pima County Sheriff's Department showed up at Annie's home. They were there for roughly 3 hours. And you can see in this video some of that police activity per News Nation's Brian Enton. And there are reporters who were on scene who said they saw flashes of light inside the house from a camera. Now, the Sheriff's Department has not said why they went to Annie Guthrie's home for roughly 3 hours on Saturday night. The Pima County Sheriff has also said multiple times that they don't have a suspect in this case, and they also don't have a person of interest. Now, there is a lot of federal help in this case. The FBI is putting a lot of resources into this case. President Trump has been involved. He obviously knows Savannah Guthrie from her covering him from his time in politics. And President Trump over the weekend was asked on Air Force One about the case. And he said, quote, "I think we're doing very well on everything. You're probably surprised to hear that. We have some clues that are very strong, and I think we could have some answers coming up very soon." Trump made that statement before the Guthrie family posted that most recent video to Instagram saying they will pay. The Pima County Sheriff, Chris Nanos, he's certainly been under a lot of pressure. He's been under the microscope as this case has played out in his jurisdiction, and he's been criticized plenty. But an interesting development that came in last night was he was spotted at a University of Arizona basketball game. This is according to Fox News. He was at that game around the same time that his deputies were at Annie Guthrie's house. Joining us now to talk more about where the case stands at this point is missing persons private investigator Steve Fisher. Always great to have you on Law and Crime. What do you make when you watch this video? I mean, certainly a huge development, but this video with the Guthrie kids, you know, Savannah, her brother, her sister saying that they are going to pay. The way that they talked, what stood out to you?
It's a tough one to read. I'll be honest with you. I know everybody's saying that they feel that this made it feel as though she's no longer alive. I can kind of see an angle where it seems like they're speaking to a party of one. It seems like they are answering or responding to whatever was in that communication. And I have a feeling that that may be a new communication, not necessarily the third one that we know about. There might be another one that they received directly, because when she says we've received your communication and we understand, I know a lot of people are inferring that they understand, okay, something may have happened to the mom. It could be they understand the demands and how to complete that. And it sounds like it could even be a situation where there's going to be some trust put in there, where maybe she's returned and then a ransom is paid, and then with the threat of, if it's not paid, then
Can you stop this for a moment?
Suffer great consequences. I mean, there's 100 different ways you could
Can you
read
stop
that.
it?
I understand why a lot of people.
So something from SF 32 minutes ago, which is very interesting. It says here on his post, it says, if this is okay, so the post has to do with the fact that she was online when going to church, online church. It says, this post is true, and Nancy Guthrie has only been attending church online and not in person, then this changes everything. They would not know she wasn't logged in on day one of this case. When I appeared on Law and Crime with Chris Stewart, I asked why whomever was supposed to take her to church didn't notice the crime scene and notify the family. Even though she had a car, it didn't appear she was driving any longer. This would explain why. I'm pretty sure the timeline of events even said that was how they found out that she was missing. Am I right? Let me see.
I don't know. Stuff's already getting a little crazy in here.
Guthrie family checks on after she did not show up at church at 11:56 a.m. So, based upon this, she was doing her church online. That's a little odd. So basically, she was doing her church online. Yeah. So I was thinking in terms like they went to pick her up, or she went in person originally when I read that. So that's a little odd. If she had a pacemaker, why didn't anyone get alert? Because it was only to her cell phone. It wasn't to other people. It was connected to an Apple device, like to give her alerts. So, and it doesn't have a GPS, by the way, the pacemaker. Yeah. So I think the Hatter's Madness says, someone reported the family that she did not show up at church. Is that what was stated? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because when I originally read it, I thought she went in person. So either way, it's good to get the clarification on that. Let me see. It could be face-to-face online. Maybe they knew she was missing. But would you immediately, be alerted, someone missed church? I don't know. That seems a little bit of an escalation. I mean, literally, it looks like for 7 minutes later, Guthrie family calls 911 to report a missing person. So 11:56, they find out she didn't go to church, and she did not attend church. And then, 7 minutes later, they're calling the police about a missing person, based upon them not logging in to an online church. I can understand if, I don't know. I don't know. That seems a little quick, but maybe they came to the house and they didn't see her in the house. Maybe I'm missing information and I'm not sure what. But I mean, I could tell you my mom, when she was alive, she went to church online a lot, and no one called the cops because she didn't show up one day. 7 minutes later. So that's a little odd. Maybe it was just such a big routine to her that they thought it was really odd, but yeah. Yeah, I was reading the time just now. Like that was the timeline. If she donated every Sunday, they probably notice her donations. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that seems a little odd. Like the human nature. Would you guys do that? I mean, like, if let's say one of your mother didn't show up for church online, and then suddenly, also I see a Amazon package in the front of the house apparently, so that means Amazon was there as well, and they didn't pick up the package as well. So I wonder if the Amazon took a picture before leaving the package. Anyway, who called in? I wonder. I don't. Well, it says here on the timeline. Let me see. Sorry, I got a lot of tabs open. Guthrie's family checks on her after learning she did not attend church. Then 7 minutes later, they call 911 to report a missing person. Then 12 minutes later, investigators arrive to launch a search operation, include the use of drones and search dogs. So I don't know. That's a little odd, but I'm not jumping that any of the family members have anything to do with it. I just need more information. Like if they went to the house and they saw blood, then I could understand. I could be like, okay, why is there blood in the front? We need to call the police. Something's gone.
Well, there was a couple drops at the front door.
Yeah, maybe they went to the house 7 minutes later, and like 7 minutes later after they got the information. Like, how close do they live? Do they have someone that's like a neighbor that came by? I just think there's like missing information on that timeline. Like, how did they, like, what made them want to call the cops? 7,
right?
You know what I mean?
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
I think that it means that something happened to Nancy, but I don't know. I don't know if I've lost full hope in that.
Yeah, and it seems like, and again, like body language is very difficult to read because it can, you can put it in a whatever box you want and say, I've seen, if anybody's been on social media for the last week, everybody's trying to read into every single word that they've said. And now there are certain words I've seen people say, where it's like, oh, did the FBI write this? And are there certain like little code words, messages? There's one part, like maybe even a movie reference in a previous video that might have been made. I do wonder, because for as public as this case has been, where you have reporters on the street following every single move of law enforcement going to whether it's Annie Guthrie's house or Nancy Guthrie's house, as far as the inner circle of that family and the communication between the family and whether it's the FBI or the sheriff's office, that feels airtight. Like, we have not heard a lot as far as, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they've been having communication with somebody, just based off of, it just seems like the messages are different than what the local TV stations are saying, especially when Savannah Guthrie said like AI, and I don't know if it was saying like, if you send proof of life, like we can't tell, but like there has been, even in TMZ and as like kind of open they've been with what they can about the message, like we haven't heard of any images they received.
Right.
So I just, that's like kind of where my mind goes, is like, we have no idea what communication the Guthrie family has had with kidnappers, but also even their communication with law enforcement.
I listen, I think that there's been more communication, especially in the last 24 to 48 hours than we're aware of. And I think that's, I think that video that came out yesterday, that the We Will Pay, was answering a communication that we don't know about, and whether that came through the TV station or where they're now somehow they made direct contact through an Instagram burner because she's doing her outreach on Instagram. I don't know, but it seems that they're saying, okay, we don't need the proof of life anymore. We will pay, and we just want this to end. And I like to your point, where everybody is critiquing every piece of body language. Listen, Savannah is a little different situation. She's in front of the camera all the time and
professional,
and she's under so much pressure, and she looks completely stressed out and has now imagine her brother and sister who are not in front of the camera ever, and they know if they're watching any social media that everybody is looking at every single body movement, every smirk, everything that they do, and then your body just starts doing those, like involuntarily. I think there's got to be a little grace in that with them to realize that one, it's a lot of pressure being on national, being under the microscope. Not national, the world is watching every one of those videos. It's got to be, and then your mom's gone, and so I don't think we can judge them by that. I don't think we can judge Savannah by that, and she's a professional in front of the camera.
Yeah, and to think, like, I can't imagine that they have had any sleep for the last week. I mean, for any reason. And so I think anybody trying to critique body language and, what does that read one way or another? I think it's incredibly hard. So from what we know from the FBI, the second deadline in this ransom note was Monday.
Yeah.
What do you make of the fact that this video saying that they're going to pay goes out on a Saturday? And I don't know in these situations, like, do you bring it to the 11th hour where you're, like, it's got to be a Sunday night thing that you're going to say that you're going to pay? Or is it like, is there anything to read into the fact that still with another day to go until that deadline, they come out and say, okay, fine, we're going to pay?
Yeah, I think that is probably them being safe to make sure nothing goes wrong at the end of it, whether it be somebody gets upset. Like, another thing going through their mind is, okay, we want this person caught. We want our mom back. But what if the FBI does find out who's got this, got her, and they move in and something goes wrong in a rescue? That's probably going through their mind. They're probably like, it's worth it for us to pay $5 million to make sure things go safe. And then we will work to get them captured and get that Bitcoin back. It's going to be incredibly hard for those people once they get the Bitcoin to move it on the blockchain. To convert it to cash is going to be that's a whole different show. But I mean, so they're probably making some sort of hedge bet that, listen, we have to put this money up front, but there's a good chance we will get it back. And the FBI has shown in cases like they've had the ability and the Justice Department to seize these wallets, and so that's a real possibility. And I think what they're saying is, okay, and not only that, but she needs her meds, she needs care, and being in the fragile state she's in, that waiting till Monday could. I think they just everybody wants to know. You can see it. It is taken. They're in fragile. They're in poor health right now because of this. So I think it's just to end it, and I guarantee the FBI is advising them, and the FBI is never going to take a stance of telling them to pay it or not pay it, but they will advise what your decision is, the best ways to go about that, and they're probably taking some of that advice. But I have a feeling too that Savannah's probably leaning a lot on some of her own friends and connections, because she's got people in positions like that, and her own security team, and consulting with her brother and her sister and seeing what they all think is the best way to do it. And that might not be the way the law enforcement is suggesting.
Yeah, and I think too, these emails that came in. So you have like the initial ones, I think, went to 2 TV stations in Tucson and TMZ. And then the second one appeared to only, I think, go to one of the TV stations. But nonetheless, like, and I know that there's technology out there where like you can switch up IP addresses, this and that. How hard is it though to trick the FBI? Like, how likely is it at this point the FBI, with all the resources going into this, has no idea where these emails were sent?
I do think there's a chance. I think we're dealing with somebody. So I think this is a whole different day and age of crimes like this, right? And we never see this. So this is kind of like the first of this type. But I think people were saying that's very amateur the way it's being done, where they're not opening having this open communication. I actually disagree. I think that the way they're doing it kind of makes sense. And I think the reason that it went out to those 3 organizations because they're submitting it through a web form, so they don't know. One, a lot of those places just have like interns monitoring those boxes, those tip boxes, so they don't know if it's going to be taken seriously. So they kind of put it out there to make sure that it's seen, right? And then once they know it is, now they have an open channel of communication if they need it through the TV station. But they were very clear in saying this will be our one and only communication. Now I know that there has been one since, so they kind of broke that, but that makes sense if you're saying, listen, I want money transfer, I want Bitcoin transfer to this Bitcoin wallet, and I'm not giving any more communication because I know that the next one, the FBI, they could have stingrays set up to intercept cell signals and whatnot. I mean, I'm sure they're like, we're keeping it at this because we don't want to get caught. So either pay it, and then it's a mental game, right? It's like,
yeah,
because then the family's like, should we just pay it and see what happens? You know, take this chance. And there's a certain percentage of people that have the assets available to them to do it, that will do it. And I think that's what the bet is. So I actually don't think these are amateurs. I think these are people that are, I think what we're going to find if we find out how this is all done is that there's a really tech savvy person on the other end, and then that hired a brute force crew to go grab her.
Well, because that's the thing is like, I think of like the FBI, and it's like they can figure out if there's like a hack of a government, you know, facility, you know, cyber attack, or, you know, a company gets, you know, they can trace it to North Korea. And then I'm sitting here and it's like, who ever took Nancy Guthrie? Like, do they have the ability to hide from the FBI where they have no idea where those ransom notes were sent from? Or is it a case where, I'm speculating, is like you find out where it was sent from, and then that certainly raises the level of concern that it might not be like a young teenager who is in his mom's basement who's able to send these, you know, alleged ransom notes.
Yeah, I think that they probably have got it narrowed down to like a region, even if they're using multiple VPNs and stripping IPs and stuff. They probably know a region, and they probably now have got systems in place through those VPN that they went through, where they're able to see maybe the incoming side of that traffic now, and that's why these people don't want to send further messages. I think another message or two, and the FBI probably will be able to find out, to narrow it down, and maybe even the last message, maybe they're getting closer. Maybe that's what Trump meant when he said, I think there's going to be news. But it's, I do think, as of the way they set it up now, I think they probably have shielded themselves. However, I don't know how they could pull this off in total without getting caught, because then now how do you return her? You know, I know you can just dump her somewhere, but that's a tough thing to do, because there's just surveillance everywhere. Even if 20 miles, you know, you can time how long it would take a vehicle to get to this part of the desert. And, you know, we saw the car there and there. You know, it's just, and you got the FBI. You don't got just the FBI. I guarantee you got Secret Service, you got Homeland Security, you got, but you got Border Patrol. I mean, everybody's working this case, and so I don't see them getting away with it. I think once she is back in whatever form that is, whether alive or not, then this person is going to be under an incredible amount of pressure. We think the Guthries are under a lot of pressure. Just wait till she's back, and then you see going after this, whoever's behind this.
Well, and if you have, like, you know, I know that one TV station which says it received a ransom note, I think the number was $6 million, you know, was, you know, and if someone gets $6 million like that, you know, it's not like something that you can just put into a bank, you know, and it's like, however, this would be, you know, I have no idea how that, you know, I'm not an accountant, so like I have no idea how it works, but I know that type of money certainly raises red flags.
Well, it does. And the thing is that, you know, the thing with Bitcoin, it's anonymous who the wallet holder is, but the wallet itself is completely open. We can all look at that Bitcoin wallet address, and if $6 million hits it, we can see every transaction in that wallet. So they can't, you know, and there are systems out there where they jumble, they take a lot of Bitcoins from different addresses and they wash them. But listen, they've gotten very good at the Department of Justice, FBI, Treasury has gotten very good at tracking these things. And we've seen, you know, some high profile cases in the last year involving Bitcoin that have been seized. And so
we've seen with that $250 billion heist.
You might have 6 million Bitcoin, but I wouldn't be surprised if that gets back to, if it gets back to the family at some point in the future, because it's gonna be incredibly hard to liquidate that.
Right. And I think too, with like the FBI, like they probably do not make deals with people. You know, I know it's up to the family to decide whether or not you want to pay a ransom, but you know, for the FBI, they're not going to stop looking for this person, even if we get a happy ending of Nancy Guthrie being able to get back to her family as a result of that being paid. You know, there's that part of it playing out, and trying to figure out with the ransom note, and then now with the videos that have been put out on Savannah's Instagram, you know, in that part of the investigation. But then you know, it's an odd situation to see and I'm all for media access, don't get me wrong, but it's like every single moment a deputy or agent shows up to Nancy Guthrie's house or Annie Guthrie's house or a Circle K gas station somewhere, like we know about it because there's so many people on the ground in Tucson giving the play-by-play. And last night we see deputies, it appears, show up to Annie Guthrie's house. They're there for a couple of hours. And we see light flashes. This is right after the video was posted of the Guthrie children saying that they're going to pay. What do you? It's hard to say. Like, what do you make of that? Because it's like we have no idea. It could be nothing, could be something. But like typically, what's playing out when you see that going on inside of a home?
Well, a couple of things on that. We've seen there's been, I think, a little friction between the sheriff's department and FBI. And also just the public because of the way this crime scene was turned over the first time. But then I have to say, I know the sheriff's taken a ton of heat on this, but those other times it was turned over or turned back. It was turned back by the FBI. FBI went in and processed it, and then they're the ones who released it again and then went back. So, but last night was really interesting because the FBI was not there. Those were all, I was watching it live, just like we can do now, right? And those were all sheriff's deputies or techs from the sheriff's department. They all had Pima County uniforms on, and there wasn't any FBI there. So if this was I know there's a lot of talk about luminol testing going on, which is for testing for cleaned up blood evidence and whatnot. But if that was the case, there's no doubt in my mind the FBI crime scene techs would have been the ones processing any bio evidence like that. And also, they were not in there when they came out. You could see them; they had blue gloves on, but they would have had Tyvek suits. They would have had respirators to make sure you don't cross contaminate if they're really testing for bio or blood evidence. And they also just didn't have the crime scene truck there, which has all the equipment in it. And luminol's not like you just go in and spray it and then start taking pictures. They also, you light it a certain way because to take those pictures in the dark, and they were taking flash photos, so I think it was something else that wasn't of major significance because the FBI didn't see a reason to be there. And at this point, if there's any search warrants that are being granted, you guarantee the FBI is fully aware of those because they typically are the processing arm of an investigation, even if they're not the lead agency. It's their crime techs that'll process
The cops are
everything.
good on this one.
And then going back to the ransom, like when a family decides to pay a ransom, and in this case, it's through allegedly like a Bitcoin link that, this
QR
money.
code.
I mean, how does that work? Does the FBI take that money and then pay it through? Or is it like you're shopping online and it's like you throw down, not that it would be a credit
Can you
card
stop for a moment?
transaction, but it's something like, does the family?
Yeah, it would be a QR code that you would send to someone. They would send to you, and then you pay, and it would probably be a throwaway wallet, probably. And I was just reading while we were just listening to this. It'd be like a tumbler they would use to basically try to clean it, which is, let me see, just so I can pull it up exactly. Mixers and tumblers. These are services pool funds from thousands of users and then redistribute them to new addresses, making it difficult to link the original source of the funds and final. And we've seen people actually try to launder money. Remember that video we played of that group of kids that stole $250 billion or something?
Ashley Banfield, who hosts her own podcast called Drop Dead Serious, is breaking.
Can you hear me? Oh, I guess you just hit a link accidentally. Yeah, that stole the 250. Was it 250?
No, I was letting the dogs back in and it just started playing, so I was trying to hurry up and stop it.
No problem. That was like $250 million or something like that, or some ridiculous sum of money, and they were able to launder it. But eventually, just a random person on who has been tracking laundering money through Bitcoins found it. Let me see. Thank you for sharing these statistics. I feel really bad. Oh, I'm sorry about that. What was it that they failed to find that they had to go back? My guess is that you always recheck a scene, and maybe like the FBI just basically said, hey, we want our eyes on it. Like how, a fresh pair of eyes sometimes see something new. And I seen like an Amazon delivery package that was on there, like a little book there. And I wondered, That's a little interesting. I'm sure, like what time did that come in? I don't know. Maybe she just left it out there all night. Let me see. Let me see. I don't know, but if she passed away, the device just keeps working as usual, so that info wouldn't really help. Yeah. I mean, basically found out that whoever did this knew about the structure, knew about was tech savvy enough and understood the technology about the surveillance and stuff like that. They had an exit plan where, we're going about where they probably didn't see him. Town hall fund for yesterday, and Duke needs a pup cups. No, Duke does not need any more pup cups. He got stuck on the gate again. He's too fat. He's a fat dog. He needs to get on a Weight Watchers dog plan. I'm assuming maybe she only accessed the app and the pacemaker continued to. Yeah, the app is just to connect. Like, I think of it like in terms of like your wireless headphones, my guess. And maybe it's just like gives her an idea of what's going on with her pacemaker. So I think like as soon as she left the range of her phone, I guess maybe it just disconnected or something like that. That's my understanding.
Yeah, that's usually how it works. Chai Crime's Tylenol fund for yesterday, and Duke needs pup cups.
No, he does not. He got stuck in the gate again.
I know. Oh, I know. You ain't telling me nothing I don't already know. I had to go out there and get his ass out. Tiffany, I wonder why the daughter didn't have the app connected through her phone to get an alert. I was wondering the same. She's only 4 miles down from her, so what the hell?
Yeah, I just found out. I was like, okay, so they live in the area, so they went by the house, So maybe they thought like, something happened to her, if you get to an age, there's a possibility that you can, naturally pass away. So maybe they got worried that she didn't show up for her, the church online. They just decided to take a drive, see blood. No one's there. Could be called to the police 7 minutes later. So, and the reason, so for more than one person, at least for a ring need to subscription add people to get alerts. Okay. Well, just something I like to know because, I haven't called to go on to the hospital. But yeah, it's an interesting case. I don't know. I mean, the 6 million, originally I thought it was like a troll, but the more they're talking about how they're using something to change their location on a server, sounds like a VPN or something like that. They want $6 million, which, they probably looked up this lady and thought, hey, she's worth 40. $6 million is feasible. Personally, I don't think $6 million is easy to get for someone that's worth 40 million, because someone can be worth 40 million, but doesn't mean that they can get access to $40 million worth of Bitcoin. I mean $20 million. I mean $6 million worth of Bitcoin. Sorry, misspoke. My apologies. It's not the alarming hour unusual for the pacemaker to stop syncing with the app for a period of time. Her doctor office wouldn't have noticed anything amiss. Thank you for that information. Her cameras were Nest cameras with no paid subscription. I heard that, and that means they don't save, apparently. Let me see. My guess is the church. That's what it's saying there, but that doesn't make sense. The church would be calling the police. It says here, it sounds like the church called up the Guthrie family, right? She doesn't show up because it says Guthrie family checks on her after learning she did not attend church. Someone comes over. The only way it makes sense is that someone went over there in person, saw blood on the steps. She's not home and calls 911 immediately on a missing person because she's 80-something years old and 86, I think, and just naturally just assumes, like this is not good and that she's missing. And then the search happens immediately. There's a possibility they could be lying about that too, Pecan, because the thing is you don't want to spook the suspect. Because what does the suspect do when they have, when they know the cops are onto them? They get rid of the evidence. In this case, the evidence is a person. So they might not want to spook them to suddenly make them want to hurt this lady to hide the fact that they kidnapped her. 84, thank you. So, by the way, I mean, I just, I mean, and yeah, exactly. So it's going to be tracking somehow. Yeah. Yeah, it's like Zoom. I think they're like Zoom or something like that. Usually, it's kind of like Zoom. A beautiful disaster. BTM, my dad church would call me if he didn't show up. Yeah, and that's what I think probably happened. Okay, the friend at the church and her daughter had tried calling her first. I can imagine that. Okay, let me see. The son-in-law hasn't been named suspect publicly. I think that's why LA got upset with what Band-Aid died for reporting from her source that he may be a source. I don't think he's a you know, I mean, like everyone's a suspect. Don't get it wrong. Everyone's looked at in these cases, but I don't know. I mean, I think like people need to just not jump to judgments immediately. Just because the cops visit you or, you know, search your, doesn't mean that you are the one that did it. You know what I mean? Banfield. And Banfield's kind of a Banfield thing. I was wondering who that was. I was like, is that a news reporter I'd never heard of? Okay, Banfield, thank you. I don't know. I think like honestly, we jump to like conclusions when we don't have real evidence. All we know is that basically we just know this lady's been kidnapped. You know, it's highly likely she was kidnapped. She didn't walk off on her own. And it seems like, and that's pretty much it. We don't know what car she was taken in. We don't know. We have an estimate of time, which based upon the pacemaker, which was, you know, sorry, my mouse is freaking wireless and it dies sometimes. Give me a moment, which is 2:28 a.m. And they detect motion at 2:12 in the morning. So that leaves about a good 16 minutes. So 16 minutes of the house, you know, situation that someone went in there and took her. But yeah, pretty much that's all the facts that we have. I don't know, when people start talking about like the brother-in-law and all this stuff, it's like, yeah, that's not enough, you know? You know, I just think that's a little jumping to conclusions a little bit too quickly. Let me see.
I agree.
Oh, thank God. I thought you put Coffindoffer on the fucking screen. Someone said,
Get
Coffindoffer.
JLR stream, his live stream, he's still going.
I was about to say, like, if you put Coffindoffer on this, I swear to God, I might drop off. That lady is horrible. And she always like chases like cases all the time. Oh my God. I can't forget what she said in the Sebastian Rogers case. That was so disastrous. Her coverage of that was terrible. And then she's the FBI and she got tricked by Nick the Hat, like the intelligence agency, Nick the Hat. I'm like, okay, we don't believe that. You must have not been the best FBI agent in the world. I'm just saying, if you got tricked that easily.
Well, she investigated cows and pigs and the numbers and that kind of stuff. She didn't do things with people, so.
Yeah, that was
allegedly from what I was told.
Yeah, that makes sense. But wouldn't they be able to see the pacemaker activity from the cloud? No, I don't think it tracks you. I don't think pacemakers track you.
No, but it'll stay on and stay working.
Yeah, but people are thinking like they're able to track a person with their pacemaker.
No.
They're basically the same thing, Banfield and Coffindoffer. Both to me, I don't really respect. I used to like Banfield, and I used to like Coffindoffer, but then based upon their performances in a few cases, I just don't like them. I don't like their coverage. So, you know what I mean?
Yes, I do, baby. Yes, I do.
So, like, why do you think Dolly Vision? Did anyone pull up Dolly Vision's GoFundMe? Like, what is that?
Dolly wants his subs to pay for him to take a trip.
That's crazy. Like, why don't he just go down there by himself?
Well, he just got caught with Tina. The truth came out. You think you think PJ's gonna let Dolly out of her sight? Nope.
Bro. That's true.
Never again. Never again. But there really hasn't been too many updates, and I got to go get some stuff done. It is Sunday, and
all right. Well, we covered it, you know, and if there's any updates, we'll cover it again, you know.
Absolutely, we did. Yep, and yeah, we'll stick. Yeah, if there's any updates, we'll definitely keep updated or whatever, and we'll talk about it. I'll be live later, like this evening or whatever, too, on the sidebar. So,
all right, I'll see you there. Bye.
We will pop over there. All right, baby. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Thank you for hanging out. Thank you guys for being here. Happy Sunday. I hope everybody has a good Sunday afternoon. Thank you guys for being here and hanging out for a little while. We hung out on the Clip channel this morning. We snuck over there for our secret little morning session. And then we flew over here to sting the thumbs up real quick and talk some about the, Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Anyhow, we'll be live later reviewing the beach and on the Hive sidebar. So I am going to go get my stuff done, and I will catch y'all on the flip side. See y'all on the sidebar later. QB out.